Canada's National Police Service sending to banks the names of people involved in protests that have paralyzed Ottawa. This is the first concrete step in the financial crackdown on demonstrators. Bloomberg's Kevin Orland has been following the financial side of this story, and he joins us now. Kevin, nice to have you with us. And I mean, you think about the political risks of freezing accounts. This is a very tricky area that we've waded into, but obviously the government feeling they had to take some action. What can you tell us about what we've been learning over the last couple of days?
That's right, John. Well, the main action that's happened recently is that the crackdown has really begun in earnest now. As you mentioned, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police has shared a list of names with the banks of people who've been involved in the protests. These are people whose accounts the law enforcement wants frozen. And we've seen reports that this is about a list of about 24 names, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 names of people that the government wants to freeze their accounts to try to get them out of these protests. We know that earlier today, the banks were talking with the law enforcement about exactly how to go about this, what kind of freeze on the accounts, which accounts to freeze. But not long ago, Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland at a press conference said that some accounts actually have already been frozen. She wouldn't provide numbers or the value in the accounts that was frozen, but she says that they have been frozen. There'll be more information coming forward on that. And then on the non-financial front, we just reported that Ottawa police have begun erecting barriers and fences around the downtown core there to start clearing out some of the physical infrastructure that's been built up for these protests. So I think it's fair to say over the last 24 hours we've seen a big escalation on the government side of really cracking down on the protests.
So Kevin, is it fair to say maybe by Monday we see business as usual in downtown Ottawa?
That's so hard to tell at this point. I mean, these protesters have been down there for more than 20 days at this point, and the government, both provincial and federal, have tried various means to get them out of there. They haven't budged just yet, but this is very early on after the invocation of these emergency orders, and this does give the government and law enforcement a lot new powers to try to clear those out. So we'll have to see in the days ahead how much of a difference this actually makes, how dug in those protesters are, and how serious the government is about clearing them out.
And I know you're still working on getting the details, Kevin, and I don't want to make things too complicated, but when you're talking about the potential to impact what the banks are doing, what investment dealers are doing, loan companies, is this all connected at the same time? Do we have a sense that if there's one action taken, that everybody in the food chain also is taking action simultaneously?
It's very difficult to tell that at the moment. What we have heard is, when the rules for this were published yesterday, it showed a much broader swath of the financial industry being involved in this than was initially expected. This extended down to investment dealers, portfolio managers, even fraternal organizations like an Elks Lodge, if they have some sort of financial relationship with the people. I did talk to one investment advisor who said that he doesn't really expect it to get down to his level at this point. He's not exactly sure how that would even work on his end, and he expects that this would sort of start and end with the banks. But it remains to be seen how long this takes to clear these out. If freezing bank accounts doesn't work, do they need to move to a next step? So there's a lot of questions still on this.